But thank you for joining us for this slot. We're going to be chatting over all things rituals and Scottish traditions during your ceremony, and we've got the very lovely Craig here from Independent Humanist Ceremonies. Craig Flowers has been a celebrant now since 2010, is that correct? So he's the right person for the job and the right person to chat to us about what we need to know today. And you've married probably hundreds upon hundreds of couples now, so you've got
the 1,000 mark now.
Thousands, yeah. So he's got experience in the field. So we've been doing this for 14 years. So if we're going to get anyone to chat to us about ceremonies, then this is the man for the job. So suppose really we're here today just to find out what kind of things you can include in your ceremony. So I'll just pass it over to you, Craig. Talk us through some of the things that couples are asking you for to be part of their ceremony. What are you seeing? What's popular?
Okay, well, trends change over time. If anybody can't hear me, let me know and I'll pipe up a wee bit above the music in the background. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to chip in as well. But I always think the biggest strength of a celebrant-led, a humanist ceremony, is it's personalised to the way that individual couple wants it done. So it doesn't have to be all the bells and whistles, it can be nice and simple. But if you do want to add extras there, your celebrant should be able to guide you through these things. I think today we're mainly focusing on the more Scottishy ones, but if that's not for you, you don't do it. Simple as that. We construct that ceremony around what you want.
What you want?
By far and away, the most popular Scottishy one would be the handfasting. Now, not everybody will tell you this. Handfasting probably isn't even Scottish originally. The style of doing it is more the Highland style of doing it, but it's a type of ceremony that had been conducted all over Europe at one time because it was cheap and it was very visual. People were not buying gold rings for each other 150 years ago. It was a very simple way to get married with linen or cloth, and it was very visual, so people couldn't read or write. They could see that what was happening.
And in terms of that now, so obviously back then, what were they using and what are people using now? Has it changed?
You can use pretty much whatever you want, so long as you've got enough material to do it.
Right, okay.
To confuse matters, there's a few ways to do it as well.
Right.
The most common way to do it is using two lengths of material. The symbolism being that one represents each of the couple. Now with a wedding where there's a groom and a bride, maybe you could have material representing the bride, so a white or cream length of material. If the groom's in a kilt, maybe his tartan. If there's two grooms, two different tartans. If there's two brides, two pieces of material representing the
two dresses. Nice, yeah.
Family tartans. Two nationalities, different flags from each country. Celtic and a Rangers scarf, whatever you want.
We're going there.
But the hand fasting's only the most popular one. A wee one I like that's maybe not as popular as it used to be is exchanging family tartans.
Right,
if
okay.
people have Scottish surnames. Now my surname's Flowers. There's no Flowers tartan out there. but on my mother's side there's Douglas.
Nice, okay.
So if I was involved I could use my mum. So if it's not obvious, sometimes you'll have a link through a grandparent or through a parent. Sharing from a quaich is another one that's very popular.
Yeah, talk us through that, because I know people probably see these and they're just like, what is that? Is that someone's bowling trophy or whatever? So talk us through what is a quaich and how do you use it?
Sad to say it, but the winning kind of sales point of this one is you get a wee drink during your ceremony.
Sounds good.
No, everybody drinks alcohol. If one of the partners doesn't drink alcohol, you can do it with a soft drink, no problem at all. I done this way with a couple once, and she found out she was pregnant about a fortnight before the wedding. Didn't want to make a big thing of it. It was no secret, but there hadn't been a big announcement, so we done it with apple juice, and she screwed her face up and pretended it was a whiskey.
That is like BAFTA level acting. That is good.
But you toast your vows.
Okay.
Quaich means loving cup or sharing cup in Gaelic or Gaelic. So it's very simplest version. After the vows, I would present one of the couple with their quaich. They would pass it to their partner for the first drink. It's a quaich because it's got the handles. It's designed to be communal.
Nice.
Prior to the pandemic, we used to quite often pass it around the congregation as well. That's become less of a thing, unless maybe it's a very small family group. However, a nice way to do it with other people. I've been old-fashioned and sexist here, but the father sometimes seems the head of the family. It can be done with adult brothers or sisters, or with mums, or both sets of parents. All families are different dynamics. Sometimes what I do with this is we would have it sitting at the table, the 2 glasses, having whatever it is that couple want to drink out of it. Red wine is very dangerous with a white wedding dress.
Yeah, let's avoid that. I think that's probably the way to go.
But you'd either have 2 whiskies, 2 white wines, or 2 soft drinks, whatever it may be. I invite the 2 family members up. Bride's family member, groom's family member, or bride, groom, whatever it may be, stand next to their child, or their brother or their sister, and I give those people a glass each. I then turn to one parent and ask them if they accept the other person into their family.
That's nice.
Hopefully they say yes.
Hopefully at that point, yeah.
Quite often you get a father that thinks he's a bit of a joker, but we usually get a yes out of them eventually. They then pass the glass to their child. And then turn to the other person and ask them the same thing but going the opposite way. They pass that to their child. They then get a big round of applause and go back to their seats. I then I then hold the quaich out. The 2 people get married, pour their drinks into the quaich at the same time. I'm making an announcement then that fluid mixing represents the families coming together, joining to become one. It's put aside. We give it a wee bit of build-up, a wee bit of theatre. So we go back to after the vows, and they do the same thing. They toast their vows, but it's got a deeper meaning. It seals the promises made on behalf of the families, and it's a nice way to get people involved. They maybe traditionally would have been expected to do speeches, but maybe don't feel comfortable doing that. It's a nice wee simple way.
Totally.
It's also a good one if. Again, family dynamics are different. Sometimes you've got step parents and biological parents, and you've got a close relationship with both. And maybe one will walk down the aisle and then the other does a quaich, or one does a speech and one does a quaich, so you can mix things up.
Nice. Talk a wee bit more about that then. So like traditions and rituals that are bringing people together, what are kind of other ways that you can do that during a ceremony? I imagine there's ample, isn't there, that you can talk about?
Loads.
Yeah.
Well, most, they're the kind of main Scottishy ones. Other things you can do is presenting family members with flowers, like they may have traditionally been done with the speeches.
Right, okay.
Now the speeches always used to be after the meal. 9 times out of 10 they're before the meal now.
Yeah, people are just doing...
Now, I'm a traditionalist. I used to like to have a wee drink, have a bit of a heckle for whoever's doing the speech afterwards, but I'll not be there at the dinner anyway. The little bits between the speeches can get a wee bit rushed when they're done before the actual meal. So the presenting, maybe mums with a bouquet and things like that, can feel a wee bit rushed if the starters are coming out.
So you can weave that into your ceremony.
See if you present people with a wee gift, so you can make it Scottish, like the bouquets could be like
heather or something,
that kind of stuff. But presenting those things during the ceremony makes more of a feature of it.
Nice,
rather than waiting till later on.
And there's quite a few things you can do now, isn't there, about like making features? Like I'm sure there might be some people here who have maybe lost someone that they're maybe wanting to incorporate into their ceremony. Is that something that's quite common as well? Grieving's very, very unique. It's a wedding you're at the end of the day. If we do something marking respects to people that have loved ones that have passed away, it's always important to get the balance. Yeah, totally. It's about finding that respectfully, right. Yeah. But don't let it dominate things. Yeah. So normally what we would do is we would normally thank people are there near the beginning of the ceremony. So marking your respects would normally be done at that stage, because it makes sense at that point when you're talking to people that are there then to talking to people that aren't. Yeah. So it might be something as simple as just saying you're sure so and so would have been very proud to be here today. Yeah. You may want to do something a wee bit more overt, like lighting a candle in their memory to then burn it, or have a seat reserved, or wee pictures on the side table. But what I think is important is you don't expect that it's something that you should do. Yeah. If it's something you feel you want to do, you can do it. But I suppose that's really the same with any ritual and tradition. Like, you don't have to do these things during your ceremony, do you? Like, you can have one without any of that if you didn't fancy it. You've got to say you want to marry each other. That's true. You've got to sign that bit of paper. Yep. And a black fountain pen, no less. Yeah, absolutely. So long as you tick those boxes, it's a wedding. If you want to keep it simple, keep it simple. However, the way I work, the way all my colleagues at Independent Humanist Ceremonies work, is we always advise couples for the first draft of your ceremony, throw everything at it that you're considering, because it can be stripped away, you know. Yeah. I would rather we tried lots of ideas and then whittled it down, rather than a couple think afterwards, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that. But you ain't going to upset your celebrant You're pretty much up for anything.
We get half our work through people who see what we do, or people delighted with it. So bring on all the ideas.
They better get that TikTok content. I suppose as well, there's probably so many things now that people are doing that are a wee bit different. Is there anything that you've kind of came across in the last maybe year or so that you're like, oh, that's quite unusual, that's quite new? Like, it doesn't even have to be a Scottish tradition, just something that people are bringing into their ceremony.
Well, there's a wee one that was introduced to me maybe about 2 years ago, and I started to use it with other couples because it's good when people come up with another idea.
Yeah.
Because I'll nick it if it's a good one, I'll use it with someone else. You know the tradition in some churches of shaking hands with people around you? We've done a Mexican hug.
Right, okay.
So we've got the couple who give each other a big hug. They then split off and hugged someone else who hugged the person next to them, hugged the person next to them.
We don't have to demonstrate this, we don't need to do this.
It turned into a complete rammy straight away. But everybody was smiling, everybody was happy. And what I never realised would be good about that is it gave the couple, because it happened early on, it gave a nervous couple a chance while all that was going on.
Just to have a wee moment.
Touch base with each other and go, you okay?
That's nice,
How you been this morning? Yeah.
No, that is good, that's good.
People come out with things all the time, but sometimes things don't go anywhere. But we always flesh the idea out, see where it goes.
Yeah, I suppose that's the whole point of chatting to yourself or whoever it is that's conducting your wedding, is like you can float these ideas like, oh, I did see this on TikTok, or I maybe spotted that online, and you guys will be happy to advise, I suppose, as well, and chat people through things, what will work and what maybe might not be right for them.
Yeah, we've got a lot of experience under our belt, so if somebody comes up with something madcap, you go, that's not going to work. So I'll go, well, maybe this isn't going to work, or suggest another way of doing it that would work. But ultimately, the couple call the shots.
Yeah.
The couple call the shots. I'm a big believer, why not have everybody leave there with a smile on their face?
Yeah.
You know, so the Scottish traditions are great, however, there may be wording in there that you feels a little bit too formal or maybe a wee bit twee. You don't have to abandon the whole idea.
Yeah,
you go, look, we like the handfasting, but can we maybe
make it work for you as a
cut back in that sentence, get that line out of there.
Yeah, nice.
Your wedding.
I suppose that's true as well. And then we were talking yesterday too, so it's been 10 years this year since same-sex marriage was legalised in Scotland. So does it work kind of in the same way for like a same-sex couple? Is there anything in particular that you see is quite common during a same-sex ceremony, or other things like sand ceremonies and stuff, or maybe particular ribbons during handfasting? Is there anything like that you kind of see that's quite
the
quite
honest
common?
answer is the whole point of everyone having equality is we're all the same.
We're just the same.
So same-sex couples are absolutely no different than any of the rest of us. So they're all individuals. Some couples want certain things, some couples want other things. So
I think that's the way to do it, and I think that's what the point you're making is that you can have as many of these rituals or you can have as little of this, doesn't matter. But is there anything that you think that you kind of want to see a comeback of? Is there anything that you're thinking, right, I love this and I want more couples to be asking for this in 2025?
There's a balance to be had in every ceremony. So you're saying you have as much as you want.
Yeah.
Most people don't want it to be a circus.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
We do whittle it back and find a balance for people.
7-hour ceremony.
There's nothing in particular that I would say I'm sick of the sight of. I'm going to see the background. There's certain music that I hear in my nightmares sometimes, but I'm not going to any of those tracks in case you've picked it for your one. I think there was a wee spree maybe a year and a half ago as we came out of the pandemic of people having so many decorations in the room that you couldn't move.
Right, okay.
And my job was more stop people kicking the candles more than anything else. That started to settle down a wee bit. But as far as the ceremony is concerned, I have most certainly conducted plenty of weddings. It wouldn't be the way I would have my own.
I know, that's the thing, it's all unique. I suppose as well we're quite lucky in Scotland too that we can have like pretty much a ceremony anywhere, because you guys carry your licence with you, don't you? So I mean, talk me through that. Like, can you have a handfasting up the side of Glencoe, or can you drink from the quaich? Like, you can do that whatever, can't you?
In Scotland you can have a ceremony anywhere that's safe and appropriate, providing you've got a licensed celebrant. If you are booking up a celebrant, I would say us guys are the best, but there's plenty of good guys out there. That's the truth of it. Always check that they've got a legal licence to actually conduct a wedding. They're granted by the Registrar General.
Yeah.
If you have one of them, you can do a wedding anywhere that is safe and appropriate.
You could do one here, to be honest. Could bring you back next year. Could try
that. So long
that.
as we have permission of the owners of the building.
There we go.
So you need permission off of the owners of the property, be that the land, if it's outside, or the property itself. Doesn't have to be a licensed kind of registered wedding venue. It could be a back garden, it could be a house, if people have disability issues, be anywhere you
So
want.
you can be wherever, which is pretty good. And is there any like kind of top tips that you would give people when they are trying to find us like a celebrant? How's best to get in touch with people? And
Don't book anyone until you have met them and you're sure they're the right person for you.
yep,
Don't feel embarrassed if you do meet a celebrant and you think, no, you know what, they're nice but they're not quite right for me.
yeah,
You shouldn't feel pressurised at an initial meeting to book up there and then. And if you want to, you're confident, then nobody's going to turn that down. But go away, have that chat, take a bit of cool time to think about it. If you then went to go ahead, pay your deposit. I would say always check that the celebrant's only taking one booking on the day.
Yeah.
All of our guys will never put ourselves in a position where we're
Yeah, you don't want to be someone running late or whatever, so you know that you're there. But definitely,
absolutely.
I suppose as well, we're doing a rituals and traditions slot. It seems a bit unusual to not demonstrate a ritual or tradition, so I don't know if I've got any volunteers that would quite fancy a wee hand fasting.
And do a hand fasting done.
Does
Nothing
anyone-
legal happening.
Don't worry, come on
Come on
up,
forward then.
go for it. You can be
Hey,
our
guys,
buzzing
how you doing?
volunteers.
Sorry.
Now,
Maybe I should ask.
what's your name, guys?
Dawn.
Dawn and Gary. Right, now normally the groom would be this side, but again, as with everything else, you can mix it up if you want. So, I always encourage couples to face each other during the ceremony. You don't have to. If you're a little nervous and you want to face the front, then that's fine. You do what she does. Stick with that plan on the day, you'll be okay. So, if you're not already facing each other, you would turn to face each other at this point. Now, as I said earlier, there's a few ways to do this. This is the way where you two don't have to remember anything.
That's a
Just
good way.
don't let go. So, what you do at this point is you bring your hands out, palms up, yours on top of his. Now, on the day, quite often a wedding dress will have some form of train on it. So for a practical purpose, usually the girls tidy that up at the start and then before we begin the ceremony. So if there's a little slack in this, you can both walk backwards just now, but on the day of the ceremony, normally the groom would take a step back so you're not walking back into your own dress. Or apart from that, all you have to remember, don't let go. Don't look so nervous, you're not actually getting married at the moment. So if you take that on, don't let go. And that one as well. You guys get any kids? What ages?
18, 16, 13, 12 and 9.
Okie doke. The 9-year-old might be the best one to go. Younger kind of kids, I get them up to kind of help me out sometimes, you know. Gets them involved as well. If they're not up for it, then we roll with the punches, you know, no problem at all. So what I've done is I've made a very simple knot around your wrists. Now at this point of the ceremony is when your nose gets itchy. There you go. I tell everybody a little of the history behind this. Not too long, just tell everybody why we're doing it, you know, otherwise it'd be a bit weird just going, what's going on here. You can also incorporate a little joint vow in here. You could do your legal vows at this point if you wanted, but we don't usually because you need your hands free for the rings. So you can do a little joint vow. A lot of people come to us and they say, I don't want to do personal vows, that's not me, I don't want to be the centre of attention. So you don't have to do that kind of thing, but sometimes doing a little joint vow together is a, you know what I mean, a way of doing that without being out on your own. However, after that, I would give it your little nod. Now at this point, you would draw your hands towards yourself, you would just let that slide over the top of your wrists. So without letting go, draw your hands towards yourself. And take a wee step back, mate. Keep going. And they've tied the knot. I'd get right out of the way so you can hold it up for your photographer.
That's pretty good.
And then I would lift it up, make an announcement that they've came as two, but they'll leave as one, as you guys will be as a married couple. And that's a wee keepsake for you. Now, I've got a bag full of ribbons. If things have been forgotten, things have been trimmed up, so you can keep them. But if you get your own, you can pick the, I mean, you're going to be in a kilt on the day. Tartan matching the kilt, something matching your dress. Pick your own. I've heard of couples that get like a wicker hoop and then they tie that to it. There's something to put on the wall in the living room, you know. But it's yours to keep afterwards. But
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you're
There we
welcome.
go.
We round of applause for the guys.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for coming along, and to our fabulous volunteers there. Craig will be about if you want to ask any questions. And what stand are you on as well?
I'll hang about here for 5 minutes if anybody wants to chat. But me and my colleagues are on stand D40, Independent Humanist Ceremonies.
Perfect.
If anybody wants to come down, have a wee chat, take a wee bit extra bump away in their bag, we'll give you all of that, no
Sounds
problem
good.
at all.
And when you're down there as well, if you want to have a wee look at Pretty Little Details stand, she's on B54, and she is who designed our lovely stage today. But thank you so much for coming along, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, folks. Cheers.